Hello, everyone. Welcome to Connections with Shawnta Jackson. I am your host, and Connections is our opportunity as professionals to make the most out of professional networking, career development, career advancement, and business growth via unscripted live chats with like-minded individuals who inspire and inform. You are watching live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Please do enter your questions and comments in the chat box. My guest today is your LinkedIn instructor. She is a LinkedIn trainer, a communication strategist, and she is the owner of a Certain Vintage Workforce Education LLC, a company that she founded here in the state of Maryland. And so for those of you who are new to LinkedIn, or you have your LinkedIn accounts, but you're not really that active, she's going to help us to up our game. And at this time, I will welcome Dr. Elise Barnes. Welcome, Dr. Barnes. How are you today?
Good afternoon, Shawnta. It's good to be with you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for joining me today. And we connected via LinkedIn through a mutual connection, Tom Hooper.
We did. LinkedIn is a powerful connecting tool.
Yes, definitely is. And Tom saw that I have this show, the streaming live, and he recommended that I connect with you. So I appreciate this opportunity and the value that you're going to bring to the viewers. And then also, I hope that by you being on this show, that it's also valuable and beneficial to you as well as a business owner and as a professional.
Yes, well, I never thought I'd be an entrepreneur, but I am enjoying it immensely. And that's one of the things that when I work with older job seekers, I talk to them about looking at the whole picture of their life, looking at it holistically and thinking about not just what they want to do, but what they want to be and whether that fits into their life right now. I sort of talk about logging on and rebooting. And so what my life looked like 10 years ago or 15 years ago, I might not have enjoyed entrepreneurship so much, but because of the responsibilities that I have as a caregiver for an aging parent and for a spouse with a chronic illness, entrepreneurship actually works best for me because it gives me the flexibility that I need. And so for many of us who are older, we need to rethink what our encore career looks like. And the great thing about LinkedIn is you can do that. Because unlike your resume, which is entirely backward looking, it's just a list of what you've done for your previous employers. LinkedIn is forward looking. It's all about what you want to do next.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate your statements. Thanks for sharing your lived experience of being a caregiver. And I think that's very important. I met this woman a few years ago. This had to be about 2017. We connected via LinkedIn. And we had a few exploratory meetings. And at the time I was still working full time. I had my business, but I hadn't left my employer at the time. And she was giving me a lot of advice on working with nonprofits and responsibilities. And then, but I know she was taking care of her aging mother, and she was in the workforce. So fast forward to present day, I reach out to her and I asked her if she wanted to be a guest on my show. And she says, you know what, I'm no longer in the workforce. I'm a full-time caregiver, and I'm not really sure if I have anything to offer. And I said, no, that's perfect, because as you mentioned, there's as far as age and demographics, there's a lot of different people who are on LinkedIn, but there's a great group of folks on LinkedIn that we are, and another person connected with was on vacation because she's taking care of her parents. So a lot of us are at that age where we're in the beginning stages of becoming a caregiver, or we are already there. And I really appreciate you for saying that and talking about how we can utilize LinkedIn for moving forward. Do you mind sharing just a few tips?
Well, no, absolutely. Again, as I said, if people get nothing else from this, it is the importance of understanding that how LinkedIn differs from your resume. It is not your resume and a photo. That's one of the biggest misperceptions about LinkedIn. And again, LinkedIn is not about your previous employment. It's about what you can do for your next potential employer or client. And I like it's great for career pivots. There are many of us who are in this stage of life who may have worked in a career for a long period of time, but now we're really looking to do something else. And LinkedIn allows you to make that pivot, to make that shift, that transition to what it is that you want to do now. And one of the biggest misperceptions is that we have to go back and get another degree, which takes a lot of time and a lot of money. But we live in a time where certificate programs, which you can knock out sometimes in less than a year, are really the coin of the realm now. So you can get a certificate, pivot, and move into your next career. And LinkedIn allows you to become a part of that new community. For example, groups on LinkedIn. You can join most groups on LinkedIn without having any experience in the area, only just an interest. But what that allows you to do is begin to have conversations with people who are on the path that you want to be on, who are going to the conferences and having the conversations that you need to hear in this new setting, in this new career that you're interested in. Become a part of that community by simply joining the groups and being active in the groups and then networking in those groups. One of the things that happens as we age is our networks start to contract because people are starting to retire and the people who mentored us are no longer working where they worked before or doing what they did before. And so finding a job or starting a business is really about your networks. We do business and hire people we know, like, and trust. So, and I also say to my job seekers, if the only person looking for a job for you is you, you're never going to find it. What you really want to do is engage other people to be in this job search with you, to send you job announcements before they hit the street so that you are then competing against a much smaller pool of people. LinkedIn helps you find those people, connect with those people, be involved with those people, build relationships with those people who will funnel job information to you. I say that the best way to find a job is the person who would be your immediate supervisor to walk your resume down or send your resume to HR and say, look, I want to hire Shawnta. What do I need to do? Now, unless you're just wildly unqualified, you're going to get that job. The second best way, and this is why companies have referral bonuses and incentives inside their companies for people who work there, is the second best way is someone who knows your work to forward your resume to HR and say, I worked with Shawnta, she's really great, and I know we're looking for X. She would be great at this. That's going to get you an interview, if for no other reason than out of professional courtesy, right? So how do you connect with those people? How do you find those people who will do that for you? Well, you do it through LinkedIn, right? That's how you find those people who will be your internal champion and get your resume out of the pile, away from the applicant tracking system where lots of resumes get chewed up and never come out again. That's where you find those people who will help you get your resume out of the pile and get you into an interview where you can really shine.
Okay, and so for the individuals who are a little shy, as it relates to etiquette and best practices, let's say it's whether it's an existing connection or it's someone at a company that you sent a connection to and they accepted your request. What would you recommend for the next best step?
Well, the thing is about LinkedIn is it's relational, not transactional. Okay, so your first outreach to a new person should not be, do you know of any jobs? Can you help me? Right? That should not be your first. When I get connection requests from people and the first thing they're trying to do is sell me something, the answer is no. I'm not interested. Right? So people love to talk about their jobs, even if they're going to spend a half an hour telling you how much they hate their job and what's wrong with their job. They'll spend a half an hour doing that. So the first thing you should always do is express an interest in the person, right? If they work in a field you'd like to work in or work for a company you'd like to work in, ask for an opportunity to learn more about their career path. What would they recommend to someone who wants to explore that career path? Or how have you enjoyed working at this company? I know you've been there a long time. I bet you've seen many changes. Can you talk to me about that? Not, hey, I'm looking for a job. Do you have one? Or do you know of any? Or can you help me? That should not be your first outreach to anyone on LinkedIn. You shouldn't be asking for anything except to connect and explain why it is you want to connect from people. That's the first thing we think. We think, well, why does this person want to connect with me? So that's why you should always include a note. LinkedIn gives you an option to include a note. It has to be short because it can only be 300 characters, and that includes punctuation and spacing. So you can't write War and Peace. It's got to be short. But all it needs to do is ask to connect and explain why. We went to the same school. Our mutual connection referred me. Give some explanation as to why, you seem to have a very interesting to the same school, or we both worked at Procter and Gamble just at different times, or when was the last time you were on campus? Anything that will make you not a stranger reaching out to this person to explain why it is you want to connect with them. And school connections are great because people have warm feelings about the school they went to. And so I tell people, if someone from Ohio State University, where I got my doctorate, reaches out to me, even if we went there 30 years apart, if they're in Washington, D.C. and they're a Buckeye and they invite me to connect, I'm going to say yes.
So that's so for those of you who are seeking to make new connections, that's one of the a tip that I just got from this conversation with Dr. Elise is to maybe search. You can search the name of your university that you went to, or your high school, or even the places where you used to work or that you're interested in working. You can type in those names. And again, you can search in groups, people, businesses. You choose what you're searching for. So if you're looking for people, right? If you're looking for groups, and so that's a great way to connect. One of the things that I do is when individuals connect with me on LinkedIn, I definitely review their profile first. I have, I'm promoting that, yes, please do connect with me on LinkedIn, but we need to connect. It needs to be a purpose for that connection, right?
Absolutely.
I want it to be, if possible, reciprocal. If not, however I can serve as a resource, that's fine. Or maybe I'm just a really cool person and you just like to follow me to see what I'm up to because I'm motivational and inspirational to you kind of behind the scenes. I'm okay with that too. But I usually look at their LinkedIn profile just to kind of vet, just to make sure it's not sales or just something just totally opposite. And then I'm looking at the number of connections that they have. And it's okay if someone doesn't have a lot of connections. Again, I'm just kind of looking at the overall profile.
Yes. Well, when someone invites you to connect, they're giving you permission to go look at their profile. So go look at their profile. Often, for example, if I go to someone's profile and I discover we have 75 mutual connections, I wonder why I haven't met them yet, because clearly we know a lot of the same people, right? But that is, again, LinkedIn opens the door. You have to walk through it. So when you accept a person's invitation to connect, then you might want to follow up with saying, hey, can we have a 10-minute Zoom chat? And I'll give you the first 5 minutes. And let's just talk about ways we can help each other grow, help each other succeed at whatever it is that we're doing. You may not know the person, but if you look at their profile and you see something in there that captures your interest, then that's a reason to connect with them. Maybe there are ways you can help each other. Maybe there's something interesting in their profile that you would like to talk with them about.
Yes, and you note that. So in that follow-up email, like again, if someone sent me a connection request, hey, thanks for connecting. I look forward to engaging with you. This is who I am. And you can check, here's my website. You can learn more about me here. In the meantime, please let me know if there's anything in particular that I could help you with, or anything in particular that you would like to discuss. And depending on who the person is, I'll extend an invitation to an exploratory meeting. And then vice versa, when I'm reaching out. So usually what I do is, because it lets you know who looks at your profile. And so usually what I'll do is I'll look at a few people's profiles that I'm interested in, I'll kind of sit on it for a second because they're looking to see, this person looked at my profile, who was she? So I give them an opportunity to read mine, and then I send them the connection request and say thank you, and let them know what we have in common. It all depends on what their profile says in their career field, and basically, I would love for us to connect to see if there's an opportunity for us to possibly work together. So I am an entrepreneur. I'm not looking for employment. I'm looking for collaborations, for partners, and for clients.
But the great thing about LinkedIn is the principles are the same in terms of if you are a job seeker, your product is you, right? That's what your skill set is, what you're selling to a potential employer. If you're an entrepreneur, you're selling your services or your product. But the basic mechanics of LinkedIn work the same, whether you're an entrepreneur or a job seeker, in terms of how you reach out to people. And again, people who are entrepreneurs who reach out to me and they're not interested in relationship, they're interested in transactions, I'm not interested, right? So, and again, that principle is true for job seekers. It really is about building the relationship so that people will feel comfortable having conversations with you through a Zoom call or on coffee that they wouldn't put in writing on social media, right? They will tell you the information that you really need to know. So like, for example, with my job seekers, I say, to make a good decision about whether you want to pursue an opportunity with this company, you need to know, like, have they had a lot of turnover recently? Is it because, are they having trouble filling this position because the director of that department is toxic? That's never going to be in the job announcement, but that's information that you need to know. And you will only get that with an in-person conversation with someone, again, over Zoom or over coffee. LinkedIn opens the door. You got to walk through it, right? To get that conversation, to move that conversation from an online conversation to an offline conversation where they're going to share the information that you really need to know that's never in the job announcement. A company being acquired, but there's a rumor afoot that our company's about to be acquired by another company. That's something you need to know, but that's never going to be in the job announcement, right? That's only information that someone who works there has that they're not going to necessarily put in writing, but they would share that information with you over coffee. The same is true with business opportunities. If I'm a business owner, and I am, I like working with people that I feel comfortable with, that I feel I have a relationship with, that I feel I can trust, right? And that only happens after a few conversations and over coffee or, using. Now, I have to say, though, I've gotten referrals for clients from people that I barely know. I mean, I don't know them all that well. But because and this is another tip, in terms of my headline, which is the text immediately under your name on your LinkedIn profile, that's called a headline. Because my headline is so clear about what I do, they have said, oh, I don't really know you that well, I just met you, but there's somebody that I know that really needs you, right? So that's, and remember, your headline follows you all over LinkedIn. If you come up in a search, what's going to come up is your headshot, your name, and your headline. And so I'm going to know that about you, whether I come to visit your profile or not. So you have to make that headline count so that I will want to come see what the rest of your profile says. So again, one of the tips that I say to people, just putting your title, executive director of, or program manager for, doesn't tell me how.
You froze. Oh, this was good. This right at the good part. So everyone on my end, Dr. Elise is frozen. And so you did freeze for a little bit. And so,
yes.
So you can go back. So you were saying your headline, if it just has the title and the organization, that's not good enough. And it should have what?
Give me some details about what it is you do, right? Again, what is what I call your special sauce? What's that thing that you do better than anybody else? Do you manage teams? better than anybody else? Are you a gifted writer or a gifted fiscal manager? Sort of give me something that will separate you. Remember, there are over 760 million profiles on LinkedIn. It is worldwide. It is in 200 countries and 20 languages. It's huge. So just saying you're a program manager, so there are millions of program managers. What makes you special? Do you specialize in certain companies or certain topics? Is there a particular issue where you excel, right? That's what I want to know, because we live in an economy, and this is another tip for my older job seekers. We live in a subject matter expert economy. So it's not how long, but how well. The question is not, oh, you did it for 30 years. Well, a lot of people did it for 30 years, but they were, mediocre for 30 years. The question is how good are you? Not how long, but how well. And so when people just say to me, that person got a job over me and they have half the experience I do. And I said, well, what that means is the economy is telling you that what they value is expertise over experience. They made a better case that they are an expert at what they do versus you just telling me how long you did it, right? And so what you want to highlight is how well you do what you do, not how long you've done what you do.
Yes, exactly. And then also, in addition to the expertise and the experience, there's also your accomplishments.
Absolutely.
Right. There's two people going in for a job. One person has 20 years experience. The other person has 7. But sometimes that person with that 7 years experience, or even 3 to 5 years experience, they've accomplished more within a short period of time than the other person did within that 20 years. And so if I'm an employer or if I'm seeking services, that's the person or the company that I'm hiring. The achiever.
Absolutely. Exactly. And again, people talk about in their resumes their responsibilities. It sounds like a job ad, you're responsible for this. But again, saying you're responsible for something doesn't mean you excelled at it. So what you really want to focus in, as you said, on the accomplishments. What did you accomplish during all that time that you were there, right? That's what's most important.
Yes, it is. And at this time, I want to check in. We do have some viewers that's saying hello. We have In Your Ear Radio in Las Vegas, Latoya Watry. She says, very useful information, ladies. Thank you. And we have Lorinda McKelvey. She's in Health and Human Services, and she is checking in from Chicago, Illinois. And she says, such great insight. Thank you. Seems like these approaches can also be used to request an informational meeting as well. Definitely.
Absolutely.
And we have Tom Hooper checking in from
our mutual friend.
Yes. And he says, great, informative show. Thanks, Tom. Thank you so much. And then also Latoya Watry, she says that she loves the approach of building relationships with potential clients or employers first. Absolutely.
Yes. You want to tap into what we call the hidden job market. And again, these principles apply for entrepreneurs as well, where 80% of the jobs are filled. So what you're seeing on Indeed or Monster.com are really only 20% of the jobs that were actually out there. The other ones were filled through referrals, which is how most of us got our jobs. If you ask, how did you get your last 3 jobs? 2 of them came because somebody told me about it, and then I applied. And so when I get to my job seekers who are sending out resume after resume after resume and getting nothing back, I say to them, why are you using the least effective method, right? That's not how you got your last jobs. Why did you change your now? But to grow that network of people who, again, will be referrals for you, you use LinkedIn to do that, right?
Yes, definitely. And I have had people reach out to me and to inform me that they are in the job market. And so therefore, that makes me think about my circle and who I know. And then I'm recommending, hey, well, maybe I can connect you with this person and you can just have an exploratory or an informational meeting Just
Absolutely.
yeah, just to see what opportunities they may know of, or maybe they have some suggestions, because sometimes we are looking for what we think we want, and we don't realize what other opportunities are there just because of a simple
forward and off it goes, so it's so easy to share information, and people say, well, why would you do that? And I'm like, it's so easy, why not? So often I think we too narrowly, and this is another LinkedIn tip, we too narrowly focus on who we connect with because we think, oh, that person can't help me. Well, you don't know who they're connected to. You don't know who their brother-in-law is or who they went to school with. I tell people, Oprah Winfrey could have been my college roommate for all you know, right? You don't know who I'm connected to, right? So people too narrowly say, well, I'm only going to, connect with people who I think can help me. But you don't know who they know, who they're connected, who their brother-in-law is or sister-in-law is or uncle is. So I'd say yes, unless there's a reason to say no. Now, sometimes there is a reason to say no. Maybe they're trying to connect with you and they're from a country in the former Soviet Union that you've never been to. And why this person from this country would want to, you have no idea, right? So, again, and LinkedIn does give you a message option. So when someone invites you to connect, you can send them a message asking for more information. And I do that frequently. People will, invite me to connect. They don't include a note. And so I send them a message, and it's very polite that basically says, thank you for your invitation to connect. However, it would be helpful to me before I connect with you if you would share who referred you or how we met or how I can be helpful to you. And if they don't respond, then I don't connect. Right? Because I've given them and oftentimes they will say, I saw you on a webinar, or I heard about your class that you teach through the Montgomery County Public Library. And I say, oh, okay, fine. So sometimes there's a good reason. They just don't know that they should have included a note. So, but other times if I get no response and I've looked at their profile and I don't see any reason why this person would want to connect with me, then I don't connect.
And so you mentioned the workshop that you offer through Montgomery County. Tell us a little bit about, before we sign off, about your company and the services, all of the services that you offer.
Yes. So I have a partnership with the Montgomery County Public Library System where I offer LinkedIn training. It is free of charge. You do not have to live in Montgomery County, but you do register through the Montgomery County Public Library website. It is a 4-hour course. So we offer 2 hours on Tuesday and 2 hours on Thursday. It's always the third Tuesday and Thursday of the month. In the evening, it's over Zoom. And it is, as I said, free of charge. I only train 16 people at a time, though, because the purpose is not for me to just get through my PowerPoint as quickly as I can. It's for us to relax and learn together and share how to use LinkedIn safely, because I do know that people have online privacy and security concerns, which are legitimate. The class is pitched to people 45 and over because we have a different relationship with social media than younger people. We are not trying to tell the world, put online who we're with, what we're doing, what we're drinking, what we're wearing every minute of the day. So I address those concerns, and then we learn how to use LinkedIn. So again, that's through the Montgomery County Public Libraries. It's every Tuesday, the third Tuesday and Thursday of every month. My company, Of a Certain Vintage Workforce Education, I partner with career development organizations and public libraries to provide LinkedIn training to the clients that they serve. And I have partnered with library systems in Westchester County, New York. I've presented for career development groups in New Jersey. I'm going to be doing one in Austin, Texas soon. I'm also the facilitator for the Career Gateway program, which is for 50 and better job seekers. It's through the Jewish Council for the Aging in Rockville, Maryland. And this is a great program. I'm actually a graduate of the program. And it's a wonderful 2-week program where we help job seekers who are 50 and better, many of whom have worked at a certain job for many years and are transitioning, or they've been out of the workforce. Maybe they stayed home to raise their children and now they're coming back into the workforce, and they want to just make sure that what they're doing is, the best practices. So we give them lots of support, lots of encouragement, mentors. We do extra training in LinkedIn, Excel, PowerPoint, and Microsoft Word. So they really go out with everything they need to hit the ground running, to be able to do a confident and successful job search. And we've had many people who have come through that program. We train 99 people between September and June, because our program year starts in September and ends in June. We trained 99 people in 2021, and we will start back again in September.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for that. That's a lot, very exciting. And are you seeking new clientele? Are you open to new clientele?
Oh, absolutely. Always open to new clients. People can always reach out to me through LinkedIn. Just include a note telling me you either saw me on Shawnta's show, or you are interested in the LinkedIn class or the Career Gateway program through the Jewish Council for the Aging. But again, include some note, and I will certainly accept. You can also go to my website and leave a message there. I will respond. And but we're always looking for people to come into the classes. I'm always looking to partner with other organizations. Because again, for the job seeker, many of whom have been out of work for a long time, it's very difficult for them to be able to afford my fee for training. So the organization pays me, and that makes it accessible to the job seeker, which is what we really want. Okay. And I've also done work with the Maryland Women's Business Center as well to do LinkedIn training for entrepreneurs, and many other entrepreneurial organizations like Awesome Women Entrepreneurs and other business development organizations.
Thank you, Dr. Elise. This has been a very wonderful and beneficial conversation, not just for the audience, but also for me. And while you're speaking, in my mind, I'm thinking of opportunities for us to be able to collaborate. So I'm glad to have met you. My background is in public health, and a lot of community engagement, stakeholder engagement, assessment, and evaluation. And in public health, we have what we refer to as the social determinants of health, and workforce development, economic development is under that umbrella. So workforce development is a public health issue. So
yes, it is.
Yes, and so as opportunities present themselves, I will definitely reach out to you just to kind of see where, how we could possibly collaborate together. Our final guest check-in, we have Dr. Reverend Edna Jenkins in Prince George's County, and she says, thanks for the information about LinkedIn, and she was asking about the workshop. I will post Dr. Elise's website again, and so where you can contact her. And Reverend Jenkins also says, as a senior, I need to know more about LinkedIn. Is it only valuable for people in the workforce?
No, LinkedIn is a wonderfully adaptable, facile tool. So again, you can use it for outreach in many, many areas. Again, for entrepreneurs, I also do a workshop for nonprofits, teaching them how to use LinkedIn to prospect for board members, to recruit board members, and also to do donor research using LinkedIn. So there are lots and lots of different uses for LinkedIn, whether you're a career transitioner, a job seeker, a nonprofit leader, or an entrepreneur. LinkedIn is a fabulous tool for all of those things.
Yes, or even if you have an initiative or a campaign,
yes,
you're looking to do outreach, or like you said, look for partners or collaborators. So I think it all falls under that same umbrella. And so for those of you who are listening only, the website is Dr. Elise Barnes, JD.PhD.com. Elise is ELISSE, Barnes, BARNES. Again, Dr. Elise Barnes, JD, phd.com. And as always, you can connect with her on LinkedIn as well. Monica is checking in and she says, thank you. Thank you, Monica, for watching. Monica, where are you checking in from, if you don't mind? In the meantime, I will close out the show. Thank you. I'm multitasking here. So again, thank you for joining me. Before the start of each of my shows, I say positive affirmations and prayers, and I ask that that the show be beneficial to the viewers, and then, as I mentioned earlier, as to you as well as a guest. And so again, thank you so much for joining, everyone. You can learn more about me at ShawntaJackson.com, or you can learn more about my business at causeengagement.com. Please do subscribe to my YouTube channel, connect with me on LinkedIn, and as Dr. Lee said, leave a message and let me know why you want to connect. And I look forward to engaging with you, and I'll see you next Wednesday, same time, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks and have a great day.